The summons came at midnight, delivered by royal guards whose expressions told me this wasn't a routine call. I was Captain Elena Rodriguez, head of the Earth Embassy's security detail on Valorous Prime, and in 3 years of service, I'd never been summoned to the palace at this hour. I dressed quickly, checked my sidearm, a formality since weapons were technically prohibited in the Queen's presence, and followed the guards through empty streets to the crystalline towers of the royal palace. Queen Sarathiel Velmara received me in her private chambers rather than the throne room, which told me everything about how serious this was. She stood by the window, her alabaster skin seeming to glow in the light of Valoris's twin moons, her silver hair cascading down her back like liquid starlight. At 400 years old, she was considered young for a Valorisian monarch, but her eyes held the weight of her crown. "Captain Rodriguez," she said without turning, "thank you for coming so quickly." "Your Majesty," I bowed, falling into the formal protocols. "How can I serve?" She turned to face me then, and I saw something I'd never expected to see in the Queen's expression: fear. Not for herself, but the desperate fear of a mother protecting her child. "I need you to understand," she began, "that what I'm about to ask goes beyond the bounds of diplomatic protocol. I'm not asking as a queen making a formal request of an allied power. I'm asking as a mother who has run out of options." My stomach tightened. "Your Majesty, I'm not sure I understand. My daughter, Princess Lissa, is in danger." The Queen moved to a desk, activating a holographic display that showed surveillance footage, intelligence reports, and threat assessments. "The Kethrax Syndicate has marked her for assassination, 3 attempts in the last month alone. My own security forces, I believe they've been compromised at the highest levels." I studied the data, my military training automatically analyzing the information. The Kethrax Syndicate was a criminal organization that had been growing in power, dealing in weapons, drugs, and political assassination. The intel was solid, the threats credible. "Your Majesty, surely the Royal Guard is infiltrated," Queen Sarathiel interrupted. "I don't know who I can trust anymore. The attempts grow more sophisticated, more coordinated. Someone inside the palace is feeding them information." She met my eyes directly. "I've spent weeks investigating every option, every possible solution, and I keep coming back to one conclusion: the only person I trust to keep my daughter alive is you." "Me?" I couldn't keep the shock from my voice. "Your Majesty, I'm honored, but I'm not even Valorisian. I don't have authority within your security structure, which is exactly why you're perfect." The Queen pulled up my service record. "Former Earth Special Forces, decorated in 3 conflicts, expert in close protection and counter-assassination tactics. More importantly, you have no connections to Valorisian politics, no debts to noble houses, no ties to criminal organizations. You're an outsider, which makes you safe." She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice cracked slightly. "My daughter is 17 years old, Captain. She should be studying art and literature, attending cultural events, learning to someday lead her people. Instead, she's living in fear, trapped in a palace that's become her prison. I need someone who can keep her alive long enough for me to root out the corruption in my own house." "Your Majesty," I said carefully, "if I take this assignment, I'll need complete authority over the princess's security. No interference from the royal guard, no override from palace officials. My protocols, my decisions, no questions asked. Granted. And if I determine the princess needs to be moved to a secure location outside the palace, Whatever you deem necessary. The Queen's voice was steady now, the decision made. I'm entrusting my daughter's life to you, Captain Rodriguez. Don't let politics or protocol stop you from doing what needs to be done. I met Princess Lissa the next morning. She stood in her chambers, a lavish apartment that was equal parts sanctuary and gilded cage, looking out at the palace gardens. She was tall for a Valorisian female, nearly 6 feet, with her mother's silver hair but younger features that still held softness that age hadn't yet refined into the Queen's sharp elegance. Her eyes, when she turned to face me, were deep violet and filled with a weariness that no 17-year-old should possess. "So," she said, her voice carefully neutral, "you're my new warden. I'm your new head of security, Your Highness." I kept my tone professional. "Captain Elena Rodriguez, Earth Defense Force. A human." Lissa studied me with interest. "Mother must be truly desperate to hire an off-worlder. Your mother is trying to keep you alive, Princess. My species is irrelevant to that goal." Something flickered in Lissa's eyes, surprise at my directness, maybe respect. The other guards always pretended the danger wasn't real. Told me not to worry, that everything was under control. "Everything is not under control," I said bluntly. "The Kethrax Syndicate wants you dead, and they have resources inside this palace. My job is to make sure they fail. To do that, I need your cooperation." "My cooperation in what? Hiding in my rooms forever." "Your cooperation in staying alive." I moved to her window, assessing sight lines and potential sniper positions. "Starting now, your life changes. No more public appearances without my advance approval. No more attending events at locations I haven't personally vetted. No contact with anyone I haven't cleared." I know it sounds harsh. "It sounds like a prison," Lissa interrupted bitterly. "It's temporary." I turned to face her. "Your mother is working to eliminate the corruption in the Royal Guard. My job is to keep you breathing until she succeeds. After that, you get your life back." "And if she doesn't succeed?" I met her eyes steadily. "Then I get you off this planet to somewhere safe, even if I have to carry you kicking and screaming." For the first time, Lissa smiled, a small, genuine expression. "You're different from the others. I'm human. We tend to be direct. I like it." The first attempt came 3 days later. I'd moved Lissa to a secure wing of the palace that I'd personally swept and established a rotation of human embassy security personnel I knew weren't compromised. A servant appeared with the princess's lunch, a woman who'd worked in the palace for 20 years whose background check was immaculate. I stopped her at the door anyway. "Open the covers." The servant looked offended but complied. Everything appeared normal, traditional Valorisian cuisine, properly prepared. But I'd been trained to trust my instincts, and something felt wrong. "Princess, step back," I ordered. Lissa, who'd been approaching the meal, immediately retreated. I pulled out a chemical scanner from my kit and swept the food. The device lit up red. Poison, a sophisticated neural toxin that wouldn't show symptoms for hours, giving the assassin time to escape. The servant's expression shifted from offended innocence to cold calculation. Her hand moved towards something in her uniform, a weapon or communication device. I was faster. My pistol was out and aimed at her head before she'd completed the motion. "Don't," I said quietly. "Hands where I can see them." Now, palace security arrived within minutes. The servant was revealed to be a Kethrax operative who'd been sleeper agent in the palace for 15 years, waiting for the perfect opportunity. The investigation revealed 3 more servants in similar positions. That night, Lissa found me reviewing security footage in my makeshift command post. "You saved my life," she said quietly. "I did my job. The other guards would have let me eat that food. They trusted the background checks, the protocols." Lissa sat down across from me. "You didn't. Trust gets people killed," I replied, not looking up from the monitors. "Verification keeps them alive. Is that a human philosophy? It's a survival philosophy." I finally met her eyes. "Your Highness, the people trying to kill you are patient and well-funded. They've spent years positioning assets. My job is to be more paranoid than they are clever." Over the following weeks, we settled into an uneasy routine. I vetted everything: her food, her clothes, her schedule, her contacts. Lissa chafed under the restrictions but followed my protocols without major complaint. Slowly, something unexpected developed. We became friends. It started with small conversations during long hours of lockdown. Lissa asked about Earth, about human culture, about my military service. I found myself telling her stories I rarely shared, about growing up in Mexico City, about joining the military to escape poverty, about the friends I'd lost in combat. In return, she told me what it was like growing up royal, the suffocating expectations, the isolation, the constant performance of perfection. "Everyone sees the crown," she said one evening. "No one sees the person underneath." "I see her," I replied. "She's brave, intelligent, and stronger than she gives herself credit for." Lissa smiled, and I realized the princess I'd been assigned to protect had become someone I genuinely cared about. Not as a duty or assignment, but as a person. That made what happened next infinitely harder. 2 months into my assignment, I discovered the truth. A routine sweep of communication intercepts revealed something that made my blood run cold. The corruption in the Royal Guard went higher than anyone suspected. The Kethrak Syndicate had compromised not just servants and guards, but members of the Queen's inner council. Worse, they were planning a final, coordinated strike. A gala event in 3 days celebrating the princess's 18th birthday. Every noble house would attend. Security would be at maximum. And hidden among the guests and staff would be a dozen assassins, all converging on one target. I brought the evidence to Queen Sarathiel in an emergency midnight meeting. She reviewed it, her face growing paler with each page. "The gala must be cancelled," I said. "I can't." The Queen's voice was hollow. "To cancel would show weakness, would embolden the syndicate. The noble houses would see it as the crown losing control. With respect, Your Majesty, better to show weakness than to bury your daughter. There must be another way." "There is," I interrupted. "You entrust the princess to me completely. I take her off-world to Earth until you've eliminated the Syndicate's leadership and secured your government. It's the only way to guarantee her safety." The Queen was silent for a long moment. "If I send Lissa to Earth, the nobles will see it as exile. Her reputation will suffer. Her claim to the throne could be challenged. If you keep her on Valoris for this gala, she'll be dead." I stepped closer. "Your Majesty, you came to me because you trusted my judgment. Trust it now. Let me take her somewhere the Syndicate can't reach." Queen Sarathiel closed her eyes, and when she opened them, I saw a mother's agony. "How long?" "6 months, maybe a year, long enough for you to clean house and eliminate the threat. She'll hate me for this. She'll be alive to hate you. That's what matters." The Queen made her decision. That night, she came to Lissa's chambers, and I watched as she told her daughter she was being sent to Earth for her own protection. Lissa's reaction was explosive. "You're exiling me," she shouted, tears streaming down her face. "Sending me away like I'm the problem." I'm saving your life, Queen Sarathiel replied, her own voice breaking. Please, Lissa, try to understand. I understand perfectly. You're choosing politics over your own daughter. I'm choosing to keep you breathing over everything else. The Queen grabbed Lissa's shoulders. Do you think this is easy for me? Do you think I want to send you away? But if you stay, you die. I've seen the intelligence. I know what's coming, and I will not stand over your grave because I was too proud to protect you. Lissa collapsed into her mother's arms, sobbing. They held each other, two people caught between duty and love, between crown and family. Finally, the Queen stepped back and turned to me. Captain Rodriguez, I am formally entrusting my daughter to your care. Take her to Earth, keep her safe, and bring her home when it's safe to return. I will, Your Majesty. You have my word. We left that night secretly through tunnels beneath the palace that even most of the royal guard didn't know existed. A small ship waited at a private spaceport, piloted by an Earth embassy crew I personally trusted. Lissa said nothing during the journey, staring out the viewport at Valoris Prime growing smaller behind us. You could have told me, she said finally, quietly, about the gala, about the assassination plot. Would you have left willingly if I had? Silence. Then, no. I would have insisted on staying, on fighting. Which is why we didn't tell you. Your Highness, you're brave, sometimes too brave, but bravery without strategy is just another word for suicide. My mother trusted you, Lissa said, still not looking at me. And you're taking me away from her, from my home, from everything I know. Your mother loves you, I replied. That's why she's willing to endure your anger, your accusations, your hate, because those things mean you're alive to feel them. As a parent, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is the thing your child will resent you for. Lissa finally turned to look at me, her violet eyes red from crying. Will you stay on Earth, or will you hand me off to someone else and return to your post? The Queen entrusted you to me, I said firmly. Not to Earth's security, not to anyone else, to me. I don't abandon that trust. Even though it means leaving your post, your career. Your mother gave me complete authority over your protection. I'm exercising that authority. You're my responsibility until I return you safely to Valoris, whenever that may be. Something in Lissa's expression softened. You actually care, not about the assignment or the politics, about me. Yes, I admitted. Against all professional protocol, yes, I care. You're not just a job to me, Lissa. You're someone worth protecting. We reached Earth 3 days later. I'd arranged for a secure residence in the Colorado mountains, remote, defensible, far from major population centers. Lissa struggled with the adjustment, the lighter gravity, the unfamiliar culture, the absence of everything she'd known. But slowly, something unexpected happened. Away from the palace, from the crown's weight, from the constant assassination threats, Lissa began to discover who she was beyond her title. She learned to cook, badly at first, but with improving skill. She hiked the mountain trails, marveling at Earth's wild beauty. She read human literature, attended virtual classes at a local university using a false identity, and made friends who knew her as Lissa Varon, foreign exchange student, not Princess Lissa Velmara. I'm happy, she told me one evening, 6 months into our exile. We sat on the cabin's porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains in shades of gold and crimson. Is that wrong? My mother's fighting a war to reclaim her government, and I'm happy. It's not wrong, I said. It means you're healing, learning to be a person instead of just a target or a symbol. When we go back, if we go back, I'll have to be the princess again, put on the crown, play the role. Yes, but you'll do it as someone who knows who she is underneath. That makes all the difference. The call came 2 weeks later. Queen Sarathiel's face appeared on the secure channel, and I saw immediately that something had changed. She looked tired but triumphant. "It's done," she said. "The syndicate's leadership is dead or imprisoned. The corruption in the royal guard has been purged. It's safe to come home." Beside me, Lissa stiffened. "Mother, I know I have no right to ask," the queen interrupted. "I sent you away. I chose your safety over your presence. But Lissa, my daughter, please come home, not because the kingdom needs its princess, but because I need my daughter. I've missed you every single day." Lissa looked at me. "What do you think?" "I think," I said carefully, "that the woman who asked me to protect you would want you to make your own choice. The question isn't whether it's safe, it is. The question is what you want." Lissa was silent for a long moment, then turned back to the screen. "I'll come home, Mother, but things are different now. I'm different. I need you to understand that." "I do," Queen Sarathiel said, tears streaming down her face. "I do understand. Just come home, beloved, please." We returned to Valoris Prime the following week. The palace had been transformed, new security protocols, new personnel, a palpable sense of renewal. Queen Sarathiel greeted us personally, and when she embraced her daughter, I saw two people finding their way back to each other. Later, in a private audience, the queen addressed me formally. "Captain Rodriguez, you have served beyond any reasonable expectation. You protected my daughter not just physically, but emotionally. You helped her grow into someone stronger than the princess I sent away. I can never repay that debt. You already have, Your Majesty. You trusted me when you had no reason to. That trust honored me more than any reward could. Will you stay as Lissa's permanent head of security?" I looked at the princess, no longer the frightened girl I'd met months ago, but a young woman who'd found her strength. "If Her Highness wants me to stay, I'll stay." Lissa smiled. "I want you to stay. You're not just my guard, Elena. You're my friend. The person who taught me I could be more than my crown." So I stayed. Not just as a guard, but as the person Queen Sarathiel had entrusted her daughter to, the human soldier who'd kept a promise and in doing so helped a princess discover who she was meant to become. The queen had given me her greatest treasure to protect. I'd return that treasure not just safe, but transformed, stronger, wiser, ready to someday lead. That was a trust I would carry forever.